Thank you, Vice Chair Ford. At this time, we will move forward with our agenda and the 2019 State of the County Address. So to start, I'll note that it has been an absolute honor to serve this board as its chair. I remember about 5 years ago taking my seat for the very first time as the youngest person ever elected in Wake County's history, and now today, as the youngest person in Wake County's history to ever yield the gavel. But one thing that I've learned from my dear colleague and mentee, Commissioner James West, is that leadership is not about a position or a title. It's about the work. And that is the mindset that I have taken into the work that we've done over this past year. This board has gone to work. We've gone to work for, as we say, the least of these, in a way that I haven't seen come out of any other board of commissioners. We all know that Wake County is one of the wealthiest counties in the state of North Carolina. We also know that rising tide has not lifted all of us, and that there are many segments of our community that have not benefited from that rising tide. But this board has taken a no man left behind approach and no woman left behind approach with things like addressing affordable housing. And for the first time in the county's history, making significant investments in addressing homelessness for women. We have enhanced and made investments in our educational system like no other board, from pre-K to K through 12, right on to supporting our state's largest community college system in Wake Tech. I must say that we haven't done all of this on our own. We've worked with community partners, many of which were here today to support our housing work, but also our municipalities. I'd be remiss if I didn't note, for the record, the involvement of one municipality in particular, whose mayor is here with us today, Mayor Frank Eagles, who I believe has attended as many Board of Commissioners meetings as I have in my time as a commissioner. Many of you may know that he has chosen to serve his community in a different way. But Mayor Eagles, you will always be my mayor, a mentor, and a friend. So I mentioned that this board does the work, as opposed to talking about the work that needs to be done. And before you'll see my colleagues and I talk about some of that work ranging from education to affordable housing to economic development.
Education is a top priority for the Wake County Board of Commissioners. It is our state-mandated responsibility to build new public schools, like South Lakes Elementary School here in Fuquay-Varina, and renovate existing ones to better serve our students, teachers, and staff. As a former principal, I know how important a high-quality facility is to help our children succeed in the classroom. That's why passing the bond referendum to fund public school construction last year was so important. The $548 million it will generate over the next 2 years will go a long way towards supporting our building program. So far this year, we've opened 4 new public schools, and over the next 7 years, we plan to fund 9 more. Proactively planning for our students' future is something we're proud of. We're also proud of the major investment we made to the Wake County Public School System in fiscal year 2020. We allocated more than $500 million in total operating funds to the school district, a $45 million increase. The school system used some of those additional dollars to hire 26 more counselors, social workers, and psychologists to support its 160,000 students. Speaking of support, that's exactly what 65% of voters last November showed when they approved a $349 million bond to build new facilities and fund infrastructure improvements at Wake Tech. These projects will allow Wake Tech to serve an additional 5,000 students or more, a very worthwhile investment for our growing community.
Keeping you and your family safe is a critical focus for our board. One example of how we're doing that is right here, the new Wendell, Maine EMS station. We opened this new building last fall to better respond to the population growth in this area and the additional calls for emergency medical help that growth is generating. That's a trend, not just in Wendell, but all over the county. In 2014, our EMS crews received nearly 90,000 calls for service. In 2018, that number rose to more than 106,000 calls. That's an 18% increase. Some of those calls come in when people experience heart problems, and I'm proud to say that in 2018, our EMS crews saved 97 people in cardiac arrest. That makes our program one of the most successful programs in the country. In May, we partnered with the City of Raleigh to launch a new computer-aided dispatch, or CAD system. The system helps the 911 center connect those in need with resources from more than 30 fire, EMS, and law enforcement agencies countywide. With our new system, we now also link directly to the Town of Cary's CAD system, enabling us to expedite critical emergency response services. We also completed our first pilot program of the Inmate Employment and Education Initiative. We helped nearly 150 inmates at the Wake County Jail with career readiness, GED classes, and vocational training. After they were released, 18 of them found jobs with steady paychecks, giving them the stability they need on their path to success.
Social and economic vitality is not just a broad goal or idea. It's a compelling passion in our hearts to help the most vulnerable residents in our community and help them thrive and prosper. One of the ways we are doing this is through the Oak City Center. We, along with our partners, opened this outstanding facility in April. It serves as a one-stop shop for people experiencing homelessness in Wake County. Here, they come to get medical evaluations, access services, do their laundry, and take showers, all in a single visit. Right next door to the Oak City Center is the South Women's Street Center, our shelter for homeless men. As part of our effort to eliminate veterans' homelessness, we have created a dedicated space here for veterans who would otherwise have no safe place to sleep. We have an affordable housing crisis here in Wake County, and we take our commitment to ending it seriously. That's why we have partnered to develop more than 560 new affordable housing units in Garner, Raleigh, and Wake Forest through tax credit approval from the state. We will also use tax credits to rehab 40 existing units in Wendell. That's a 600-unit total. They will go a long ways toward helping our residents afford to live here in our community where they work, live, and play. I'm proud to say that our summer food program served free meals this year to hundreds of hungry children. And we worked with Alliance to open the county's first behavioral health urgent care facility where people in crisis can get help. We have made lots of strides here in the past year to help the less fortunate, and we look forward to making many more in the coming months.
So what's up, Wake County? What is it that you love most about our beautiful county? What I hear from our citizens is they love the amazing green open space, our beautiful parks, and our growing greenway system that now passes over 300 miles throughout Wake County. I'm right here at Turnip Seed Nature Preserve, one of our beautiful, true nature preserves here in Wake County for you and your family to enjoy 365 days a year. We opened Turnip Seed Nature Preserve last year right here in Wendell. It features over 4 miles of trails where you can walk, run, or just enjoy nature. This 265-acre preserve also has rock outcroppings, a picnic area, and an overlook area where you and the kids can enjoy this amazing wildlife. We also cut the ribbon on the White Oak Creek Greenway in Cary this past March. This 7-mile greenway connection provides key connections between the American Tobacco Trail, Bond Park, and ultimately the Neuse River Greenway, giving our citizens easy access to travel whether you're walking, running, or biking. Developing even more parks, nature preserve, and trails will now be possible over the next 6 years thanks to a $120 million bond referendum that the voters passed this past November. It will fund important projects in our master plan like new greenway connections, more amenities in our existing parks, and even building new parks for our people to enjoy. One of our first projects the bond will fund is the expansion of Crowder County Park. By purchasing nearly 100 new acres around this most popular site, we will quadruple its size. The new park amenities will include fishing, environmental education, and even more hiking trails. Another project funded by the bond will be the newly announced Beach Bluff County Park near Fuquay-Varina. This is our first new park in more than 10 years, and my fellow commissioners and I voted this past August to allow staff to begin design work on this park, which will offer over 300 acres of gorgeous vistas, beach trees, and abundant wildlife.
Here at the Wake County Justice Center, our board works hard to make sure your county government runs efficiently and provides the services you need. As chair of the Great Government Committee, I work with my colleagues and county staff to review our processes and procedures to explore ways to do what we do even better. At our retreat in January, we set 7 board goals and created dozens of objectives to help us achieve them. You can track our progress through the online transparency portal that we launched last year. It connects you to a dashboard that shows which objectives are near completion and which ones are still in process. Making county government open and accessible to everyone is important to us. One of the objectives under the Growth and Sustainability Board goal includes implementing a long-term plan to guide our growth. We're working to create that plan now through an initiative called Plan Wake. Using extensive public outreach efforts, we're gathering feedback from our residents about topics like development, open space, and transportation. When it's completed in 2020, the plan will guide community action and decision-making over the next decade. On the fiscal side, I'm pleased to share that the county has once again attained a AAA bond rating from all 3 bond rating agencies. This is important because it allows us to borrow money at the lowest possible interest rates. Speaking of funding, we voted this year to purchase new voting machines in time for the 2019 municipal elections. They replaced 13-year-old voting machines that exceeded their expected lifespan. The new machines, which will still process written ballots, will help continue to make sure every vote cast is properly counted.
Census Day is not until April 1st, 2020, but we've been working for months to prepare. We've launched an outreach effort called Wake Counts. Its goal is to let people know the census is coming and how important it is for everyone to be counted. Setting up information tables like this one is one way we're sharing that message with our more than 1 million residents. Why is the census so important? It's more than just a head count. It shapes the resources available to our families and our communities. By completing the census, we help determine how more than $675 billion in federal funding is distributed to our county and our communities. These funds are spent on hospitals and healthcare, fire and police, roads and highways, and schools and senior centers, among other vital programs. The results also impact the number of seats each state gets in Congress and how states and local officials draw the boundaries for congressional districts, state legislative districts, and our school districts. The 2020 census will be historic because for the first time ever, you'll be able to complete it online. In March, the U.S. Census Bureau will mail you a postcard. It will have a unique barcode that you can use to go online and complete the census. All information you provide will be kept strictly confidential. If you have any questions about taking the census or why it matters, you can visit wakegov.com/census. I proudly lead our Diverse Complete Count Committee, and I look forward to helping make sure everyone in Wake County is counted.
Our work touches every aspect of life in Wake County. That includes economic development. Every year, more and more businesses like Amazon choose to expand or relocate here. And when they do, we encourage them to follow the example we've set as a county government and a large local employer. We've banned the box that job applicants had to check if they've been convicted of an unlawful offense, other than a minor traffic violation, because we want to make sure they have a fair shot at getting hired. we've expanded the number of volunteer service hours our employees get from 8 to 16 so that they can get out into the community and do even more good. And we now provide our employees with paid parental leave. So if they have a baby, adopt a child, or become a foster parent, they can have the critical bonding time they need without worrying about work. These are just a few of the many reasons why Wake County was voted the healthiest employer in the Triangle by the Triangle Business Journal last year, and the second healthiest employer in the nation by the top 100 healthiest workplaces in America. To entice businesses to adopt our award-winning practices, we added a new upward mobility bonus incentive to our business development policy in September. It rewards businesses who follow our lead and take steps like the ones I've just mentioned, and others, like paying a living wage, implementing anti-discrimination policies, and offering employees and their families health insurance. Companies that do will receive an additional 5% of the new tax growth they generate. Using this new incentive, we hope to be a role model for employers across the county and encourage them to implement the same practices that make Wake County a great place to work. We care about the environment our residents work in because it's the right thing to do, and it impacts our local economy. The latest economic data is in. According to Wake County Economic Development, from last October through the end of September, we've landed 18 new companies, and 77 existing companies are expanding. They promise to add more than 8,000 jobs and invest nearly $500 million in our community. Companies like Xerox, Pendo, Selectus, Epic Games, and even Drive Shack see the value Wake County offers in both a talented workforce and a viable customer base. As a board, we're working with our economic development partners to grow the number of high-paying jobs here, but we're also firmly focused on expanding the jobs available to those who may not have a college degree but have strong skills and a desire to learn. That's why, together with our partners at the Greater Raleigh Chamber of Commerce, we've launched a new equitable economic development program. To support it, our board added a new tier to our existing incentive policy that's focused on targeted growth areas. These are the places in the county experiencing challenges like high unemployment and poverty. By promoting and addressing equitable economic development in our most vulnerable communities, we can support job growth and investment in these areas that need it most. As they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. That adage applies not only to our economic development work, but also to our education continuum. It starts with our youngest residents in pre-K. We know investing in early childhood education is critical to helping our little ones succeed in life. That's why we provide funding to programs like Smart Start, so 1,400 children can have a seat in the classroom, learning their letters, numbers, colors, and shapes, as well as how to adapt to a school schedule, is a huge benefit for these children. The pre-K experience gives them the knowledge and confidence they need to thrive when they enter kindergarten. Speaking of our public school system, it's serving more than 160,000 students this year in nearly 200 schools countywide. That makes it the 16th largest school district in the nation. As county leaders, it's our state-mandated responsibility to ensure the school system has modern classrooms, equipped with the right resources to provide a 21st century education for our kids, so that they can compete in a global marketplace. To make that possible, this board voted to provide, for the first time ever, more than $500 million to the Wake County Public School System in fiscal year 2020's budget. That historic investment will go a long way towards setting up our students for success while helping fill the funding gap that the state fails to address year after year. Rounding out our education continuum is Wake Tech, our incredible community college that serves more than 74,000 students every year. Wake Tech not only helps its students kickstart their first or maybe second careers, but it also serves as the perfect environment for local companies to train their employees on new tools and technologies. President Scott Rawls and his team are laser focused on the demands of the market, and they continue to wisely expand their offerings to supply jobs needed to meet them. A perfect example is Wake Tech's new Hendricks Center for Automotive Excellence. I was proud to join Dr. Rawls, Governor Roy Cooper, and many others in September as we kicked off construction on the new training facility in Raleigh. Rick Hendrick, the chairman of the Hendrick Automotive Group, says at his company alone, he has 500 openings for auto techs right now, and he predicts that number will only continue to grow. He believes the new facility will give men and women the proper training to fill these important positions at his company and others across Wake County. It's another success story in the making. We applaud the great work Wake Tech is doing, and we value the role the community college is playing in providing students of all ages and all backgrounds in Wake County the opportunity to learn and prosper.
It's difficult to prosper, though, when you don't have a home or a place to sleep at night. We're in an affordable housing crisis in Wake County, and we take our commitment to ending it very seriously. Through excellent work by our housing department, we've taken a giant step forward this year, which will result in 600 new and rehabbed affordable housing units across Wake County.
They're not just in Southeast Raleigh. They're also in Garner, Wendell, and Wake Forest, towns where people are struggling to find a place to live that doesn't break the bank. This work matters because the teachers in your child's school, the officers who patrol your streets, and the wait staff who serve you at your favorite restaurants deserve to be able to afford to live in the places where they work. While the statistics on affordable housing are promising, the data on infant mortality in Wake County is not. We received a report detailing this heartbreaking issue from the Child Fatality Task Force this summer. The report states that African American babies are nearly 2.5 times more likely to die than babies of other races. As a rainbow baby myself, that's a statistic I can't live with. We have to do better, and we will. Our first step was to form a working group to address infant mortality in Wake County. Our first deliverable was a video, which you can watch on our website and social media to raise awareness about the issue. It features a local mother named Shayna, who tragically lost one of her twin babies before birth. That child would have turned 13 this year. To help mothers like Shayna avoid this type of painful loss, we're developing a strategy and best practices so moms and their babies in Wake County have the best chance possible to not only survive, but to thrive. We're also making strong progress on the Wake Transit Plan. Teens in Wake County took 460,000 free rides on local buses over the past year, thanks to the new Youth Go Pass, which we helped implement. Available to children ages 13 to 18, the free bus pass gives them a way to get to school, work, the grocery store, and many other places at no cost. A big help for working parents and teens who have no other way to get around. Speaking of buses, we just wrapped up the latest round of public input sessions last month on the county's first bus rapid transit lanes. They'll be located on parts of New Bern Avenue between Raleigh Boulevard and Wake Med. Once in place, these dedicated lanes for buses only will enable bus drivers to bypass traffic and stay on schedule. In addition to its BRT work, the Wake Transit Plan team has added new bus routes in Southeast Raleigh, Northwest Raleigh, and Roseville to help people in those communities get where they need to go. As the county grows, the need for these transit options becomes even more important. By proactively planning for our future, we hope to avoid some of the traffic challenges that other counties of our size and scale are experiencing, while giving our more than 1 million residents a variety of ways to travel across town or across the region. Our growing transit network is one of the many reasons why Wake County has a high quality of life. But the promise of more buses and trains isn't all that draws people here. We have amazing greenways, parks, and nature preserves in every corner of the county. And we're always expanding our network so residents have more places to run, walk, cycle, and play.
Our library system is growing too. We just opened this beautiful new library in Cary, and the town has fully embraced it. Nearly 4,000 people walked through the doors on opening day, a record-setting turnout.
We've also cut the ribbon on a new library in Fuquay Varina, and construction is well underway on a new library in Morrisville. We're thrilled to open these new facilities and give our community attractive, modern spaces to read, access computers, and enjoy programs for all ages. As you can see, work is being done. If I had a checklist in front of me for libraries, better parks, more affordable housing, better education for our students, more money for our educators, there would be a check mark next to all of those things. Traditionally, the State of the County address has been sort of the chair's choice. I have the opportunity to stand before you and talk for 30, 45 minutes, or however long I felt like it. That said, each year that I've been chair, it's been very important to me to include every single member of this board in the State of the County address because, and I'll start from my left, Commissioner Calabria, Commissioner Adamson, Commissioner West, Commissioner Ford, Commissioner Evans, Commissioner Hutchinson. Every single person to my left and to my right has played a key and crucial role in making all of that work that we just talked about happen. As I noted when I started, that being in a leadership position is not leadership in and of itself. So I thought it was very important that I acknowledge the role that this entire board has made in the progress that we've made in 2019. That said, as we know and as we heard earlier, there is still much to be done in the way of housing, in the way of education, and so many other issues. That's why, while we have the opportunity to celebrate today all that we've accomplished thus far, we now have the opportunity to go from what we've already done to what more are we going to do in 2020. When it comes to continuing that work, I'll have a few more words in just a minute. For now, I will turn the microphone over to the clerk for the next item of our agenda, and I look forward to making further comments at that point.